Well, it's no legend that my new haircut is quite fantastic. Ooh, that was a terrible way to open this video. Oh well, today we're talking about urban legends. Let's get started. Hey, you! Alright, number 1, the unexpected house guest. Now, when you're home alone, sometimes it can feel like you're being watched and you're just expecting someone to appear behind you, but you know, like, you don't actually have to worry about that. Unless you're this 57-year-old man from Japan who kind of noticed that things in his house were missing, like food and such, and after a year of that, he decided, I'm gonna put some cameras up, just see what's going on. Well, upon reviewing the footage, he discovered that there was someone else living in his house. A homeless woman had crawled into his cupboard and was living there. And then she crawled out, grabbed some food and stuff, and then went back. Now here's the really freaky part. While he was watching this footage, the cupboard was right behind him. And at the end of the video, that's what she did. She crawled right back into it. So she was still there. Now I really hope that your closet is not big enough for someone to be living in, because that'd be a pretty freaky wake-up call. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were sleeping. Number 2, zombie at a funeral. Now, we all hope sometimes that people that pass away are gonna miraculously wake up at their funeral and we don't have to say our final goodbye. That actually happened once. So this woman went to the hospital after having a heart attack and was pronounced dead, unfortunately, and then the family was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this funeral started. But apparently the doctors didn't really examine her very well because, spoiler alert, she wasn't dead. So right in the middle of the funeral, she wakes up and starts screaming because she's terrified of where she is. She woke up in a coffin. What? I just want to take a moment to say that she made a complete scene, and that is very rude. This is a funeral. But on the bright side, at least she woke up and she was alive and didn't get buried alive, because that would have been pretty terrible. And you know, she got to be reunited with her family. Except that, remember that thing about her having a weak heart from a heart attack? Yeah, the shock of waking up at her own funeral kind of killed her. Number 3, the deadly hiking trip. Now this one is more of a trope of horror movies, but it also kind of falls into the urban legend spectrum, so I'm gonna use it. So the general setup is any group of people goes out into the wilderness for any reason and they meet some terrible fate. I mean, you know, standard stuff. But in 1959, 9 skiers in Russia decided we're gonna go on a skiing trip. Only 2 weeks later, their tent was discovered and they were all gone. So that just sounds, you know, maybe they abandoned their tent, whatever, but here's where things get really weird. The tent was like collapsed, okay, and all their stuff was still inside. Also, the tent had been cut open from the inside and it looked like people had escaped from inside. So not too far away from the tent, after following the footprints, these rescuers found some bodies and they were barely wearing any clothes. Now bear in mind, this is in the snowy mountains where they were skiing, so these people were almost naked, wearing no shoes, most of them. One guy had one boot on. The others were then later found a little bit further away and they had a little bit more clothes on, but the weird part is that they like had broken skulls and broken bones in their chests, but no injuries to like the skin. The flesh was fine, which would indicate extremely high pressure. Also, one of the ladies had her eyes and tongue completely missing. So yeah, that was really weird, and no one can explain it yet. Not to mention, 3 of the people had clothes that were incredibly radioactive. Huh? Yeah. So theories range from nuclear testing, an avalanche, aliens, everything, but they all died, so we don't know what happened. Number 4, I hope you're not scared of elevators, because this one is the elevator of death. So imagine you're walking into an elevator and the doors close on you, making it like impossible for you to move, and then you watch as you slowly rise and your head is about to get... But in reality, you don't actually have to worry about that because we have safety mechanisms and stuff, except... it happened. In Houston, Texas, a doctor was getting onto an elevator and then his torso was trapped in the door. Now, for some reason, the elevator doors did not stop trying to close and then the elevator went up. Needless to say, he lost his head, like completely decapitated. I totally just spit. But that's nowhere near as bad as the blood that was splattering all over the elevator, and there was a nurse in the elevator. Number 5, a cold farewell. So you remember the grandma that woke up at her funeral? Well, this one is probably worse. In 2011, an 80-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the hospital after having a heart attack and then, was sent to the morgue. A day or two later, when the people at the morgue were gonna get the body ready for the funeral and everything, they noticed that she was not in her spot where she had been. So a lot of people were probably crying out in the comments, "Zombie!" But no, it wasn't a zombie. She was actually dead. So then what happened exactly? Well, she was another victim of the "I'm not dead, please don't put me in a body bag" syndrome thing. And when she woke up in the locked freezer, she started flailing around, hurting herself. She got all cut up, and then she slowly, painfully froze to death. But hey, at least she survived the heart attack, right? Oh god, it's a morbid episode. Number 6, the body in the pool. So I guess we're going from morbid to morbid on this one and discussing human bodies in swimming pools. So some kids snuck into a local pool at like midnight or something, and they were swimming around, and then they noticed a body floating in the deep end. So apparently this 36-year-old woman had drowned there while she was chaperoning some kids, and her friends and everyone else thought she had just gone home and no one had noticed that she died. Then, for several days, she sat at the bottom of the pool and no one noticed. Count them, 2 health inspectors showed up to test the water and neither of them noticed the human body at the bottom of the deep end. What? So for several days, people were swimming around in this like human soup. Now I just want you to think on this for a second. How often do you go to the pool and not get water up your nose, in your eyes, and in your mouth? Never. Exactly. Number 7, human dolls. Now dolls are creepy. We can all just agree on that dolls are creepy. Human-sized dolls are even creepier because then they look like people, and that uncanny valley is just a scary place to visit. But imagine if someone had stuffed real humans into those dolls, going all Five Nights at Freddy on your ass. Ugh. Anyway, so this actually happened in Russia, of course, because all Russians are crazy psychopaths. So this guy was digging up bodies and putting them into dolls in his little tiny apartment, and when the cops showed up, there were a lot of them. Now just for fun, I want you guys to post in the comments how many you think there were. I'm just gonna tell you that, it was a small apartment and these are grown human bodies, so don't, 10,000 is not, no. Make your guess, keep it in your head, post it in the comments, and then right now, I'm gonna tell you how many bodies there actually were in those dolls. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? There were 29 human bodies in dolls. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention that they were dressed up in women's clothes, wearing wigs, and had their faces completely covered. Huh, isn't that great? So yeah, hope you guys got a pretty close guess to the creep factor, and I'm gonna move on, okay? Number 8, please don't take my organs. Now you guys might think that I mean like the guys that wake up in the bathtub full of ice with organs missing, but that one, everyone knows that one's true. No, this one's a little bit scarier because this lady overdosed on some prescription pills, I think accidentally, and was pronounced brain dead at the hospital. But she was a good person and decided that she wanted to donate her organs when she died, so her family said, okay, well, if she's actually brain dead and nothing we can do about it, let's go ahead and donate the organs, it'd be great. However, when the nurse was prepping her and stuff, she scraped the bottom of the lady's foot and her toes curled. Okay, all right. And then at a certain point, her nostrils flared. Now, I don't know how much you know about humans, but those are pretty good signs that the brain is not dead and that the reflexes are working, and yeah, so she wasn't dead. Then this nurse, completely ignoring these signs, decides, I'm going to sedate this person. Now we're gonna pause one more time because, why would you sedate someone if you think they're brain dead? They're brain dead. You're not changing anything with sedation. Anyway, so they wheel her into the operating room, and luckily, right before the surgery was gonna begin, the lady opens her eyes. I don't know how she did it when she's brain dead and sedated, but somehow she managed to, and then that day managed to walk out of the hospital. Someone fudged that up big time. So the hospital was fined $22,000, and I feel like that nurse should really have to go back to school for the can you tell if this person is dead, brain dead, or alive school. I feel like they should have that kind of training. Number 9, the classic, the ultimate classic, being buried alive. So there's a movie out, I think, with Ryan Reynolds about being buried alive, and not very, accurate. He probably would have died. And we've all heard the actual stories of back in the day when they would put bells into graves so that if people woke up, they could ring the bell and be like, hey, I'm still alive. But, that doesn't happen anymore, right? Well, not on accident anymore, but this one guy decided, hey, I don't like my fiance anymore, so I'm gonna tase her, and then me and my buddy can tie her up, put her in a TV box, and bury her. So yeah, this actually happened, and she woke up in this TV box, buried in this shallow grave, and then managed to cut her way out of the box using the engagement ring that he had given her. So it's kind of like, thanks for burying me, dude, and thanks for giving me the means to escape. So she managed to dig her way out of this grave and survived. And I just gotta give her props. I would have shit myself and given up. Like, the noxious fumes of all the poop would have just killed me right there. And finally, number 10. Now, we are scared of doctors sometimes, right? Like, we all have our fears and such, especially when we have to go under the knife. Something about being put asleep and having someone cut you open, it's just freaky. I know, I've been there, but we generally can trust our doctors to do well, take care of us, and get us healthy. Well, there's this guy, though. Glenn Tucker was a plastic surgeon here in Wisconsin back in the 70s, and he left a trail of just horribly, horribly disfigured people. He was actually really well respected in his field, and it's kind of strange how he, just tortured people through his surgeries. For example, one lady came in with a broken nose, and he set it so bad and fixed it so horribly that it took 3 whole surgeries and nothing got fixed. The lady reported that during her second surgery, he wheeled her out of the operating room. She woke up just for a few minutes and put her in a strange, weird room and ripped cords out of her nose. What? Then, when she finally figured out that this guy was just a complete, absolute psychopath, she went to one of her friend's doctors or something. He looked up in her nose and he had stuffed gauze up there in an attempt to cause an infection, which it did. Another lady came in for a boob job and her breasts were so scarred that they looked like they had stitches from footballs on them, and one was square. And just one more example for you. A guy came in with arm pain and twitching and woke up with no arm. Imagine going into surgery for something simple and waking up missing a limb. That is terrifying. And to top it all off, this guy disappeared once the lawsuits started and stuff. Disappeared to Florida. When his wife died, he remarried, and then she had a stroke. He didn't want to live with her anymore, so he shot her to death, killed his cat, and then shot himself. Yeah. So if you have any upcoming surgeries, I'm really sorry, but you're probably gonna die. Just kidding, you'll be fine. That guy's dead. He'll probably be all right. I'll miss you though. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please be sure to subscribe and check out all my other videos. I upload every Tuesday. Also, if you really wanted to, you could go down and click my Facebook link in the description and go ahead and give that a like, because I want more likes on there, because it's not worth updating with only 27. So yeah, if you guys want to like that, that'd be terrific. I will be updating it more and more, especially if we hit 100 or whatever. And also 1,600 subscribers, guys. That's awesome. I love you all. Okay, bye!